My 23 female brother, 27, called me from the police station 4 days ago, asking me to come to pick him up because he got arrested for driving while drinking and didn't want our parents to know. I refused. I told him that I had to get ready for work and didn't have the time to drive by the police station. He answered that I could still take 5 minutes for my brother. I said no, I can't, because if I take 5 minutes, I'll be late for work. He still insisted on me coming to pick him up because he didn't want to call our parents. I answered that if he didn't want to have to call our parents from the police station, then he shouldn't have been drinking and driving, and I hung up. I received a text from him around 10 a.m. saying that what I did was messed up, that he had to call our parents at 6 a.m. and that they were super mad at him. But I've surprisingly also received a text from my mom telling me that although she's not happy about my brother, I still should have picked him up because family is family and more important than work. My dad told me not to feel guilty about anything and that they would find out eventually. I still feel guilty because now my brother refuses to speak to me until I apologize. Am I the idiot? He had to call our parents even though he didn't want them to know. I'm pretty sure he got his car taken away. There are taxis, but I don't know how much money he had on him and he's now refusing to talk to me. I love flipping these things around. I was caught driving under the influence and my sister wouldn't skip work to bail me out, so now I'm not speaking to her. What a witch. Not the idiot, all the way. If your 27-year-old brother can't even face up to his parents and take responsibility for his actions, that's a him problem. In your parents' shoes, I'd have waited a day. My parents would be too busy selling my car to come pick me up. Hopefully at 27 his parents aren't still paying for his car, but if they are, it might explain the arrested development of a 27-year-old who drives under the influence and calls sis to bail him out. It would also go well with the mother's reaction. The brother is probably mummy's golden child. I thought this too. Mom babies the son and has deemed him the golden child. Helping, saving him from the consequences of his horrible choices is more important than OP's employment. Freaking crazy talk right there. She should risk her livelihood always because her brother should always come first and be a priority. It's wild how people can't even do the bare minimum. So many options nowadays to avoid driving drunk. Seriously, from the story, I'd expect him to be 17, not 27. Did he have money to drink but not for a taxi? Doesn't he have apps like Uber with electronic payment? Payment apps like Venmo? Doesn't he have a friend that could get him? Your brother did have other options, namely your parents, and if he didn't want to wake them up, he could have been resourceful and found someone else. Don't feel guilty. Keep your head up. He was an idiot to call you in the first place. OP, please inform your mother that you're not talking to your brother, not the other way around. You cannot overcome your deep disappointment over his selfish, dangerous, and criminal behavior. You hope that he's able to get help, but you don't want to be tarred with the same brush by associating with him. He is covered in shame, or should be, and you're choosing to distance yourself from the behavior he's modeling as an older brother. Tell your mother to get over the family BS and ask how she would feel if he killed someone while driving. A little time in jail is too good for him. Something tells me that he's only sorry he got caught. You're supposed to apologize? Huh. And bravo to your dad for having some sense. For context, I, 23 female, and my boyfriend, 22, moved in together in January 2023. The name on the lease is mine and I pay all the bills even though we got it together. When we met, we were both living with our parents, and I was thinking of moving out already. Still, as our relationship progressed, my boyfriend started pressuring me into getting an apartment because he was tired of being unable to be together every night. He put absolutely zero effort into this apartment, didn't search for it, pay any fees or furniture, and I had to do it alone. At first, I didn't mind it too much because I had a stable job and made 3 times more than he did. A couple of weeks ago, the company I worked for closed down and I lost my job. I now have a transition job while I look for a more suitable option. My boyfriend also got a new job and he now makes more than I do. Since I'm struggling a lot to pay all of the apartment bills by myself, I asked him to pay his share so we could both live decently. He refused. As of right now, my entire salary goes into the bills and groceries that he doesn't pay for either, leaving me with $13 in my bank account until the next payday in a month. My boyfriend still refuses to pay anything, claiming he's saving his money for a new car. He also eats out every lunch because he's too lazy to cook and goes out with his friends on nights out regularly. All of these are things I can't even do for myself once a month. The big fight happened this morning. We went out to dinner yesterday because he pressured me into going. Knowing I couldn't afford it, he paid for dinner and everything was fine. This morning, He asked me to pay back the entire dinner bill, his share included, because he'd already planned to take me to a restaurant later this month, so he didn't want to pay for both. I became really annoyed, telling him he knew I couldn't afford it because I paid for everything else. I reminded him that I had to give up on my last year of college to take a full-time job and pay for our apartment, and that I had to sell some of my belongings, like my PC, to be able to make rent the month before. He still refused to understand and participate, so I asked him to leave. Now his whole family is texting me saying that I can't expect him to pay for me when we eat out and that I should give him the money back. But when I bring up paying for the entire apartment and groceries, they all say, "But you made more money than him when you got it," and say it's my problem if I now have a crappy job. I'm starting to think I'm crazy, so do you think I am the idiot for kicking my boyfriend out? Not the idiot, except that you stayed so long and are considering bringing the garbage back inside. This is called financial abuse, honey. He's keeping you poor. Quite simply, this road waffle is using you for his piggy bank. And if he has such a high-paying job, why isn't he helping you out? Why is he going out every day for lunch with his friends, and yet you're staying home with $13 maybe in your bank account? And is he even going out with his friends? I mean, you weren't going out with him, I noticed. So what is he really doing? Honey, you can't see that there are a lot of red flags here, but I assure you they are flying. This answer is all. Thank goodness OP had the spine to throw out that freeloader, that crusty chicken nugget. And I agree, once you've taken out the trash, don't reopen that bag and dig through it. You won't find anything worth saving in there, hun. It sounds like his family is sick of his leeching behaviour too, that crusty chicken nugget. But sure, them gaslighting you to take back this prize of a partner, and I say that as sarcastically as possible, is a good sign. Let them kick him out too. His family's mad because he's their problem again. Yes, his mom, not the one who contacted me, has said multiple times she would not take him back if something happened between us. The time we spent together is nice, and he's always been adorable, but when money is concerned, he's an entirely different guy. I feel bad. My younger brother is very allergic to dogs. I love them. I've wanted one all my life, but we couldn't have one because it would be bad for him. I never held this against him. I understood that it was a medical thing and that it would be stupid to risk his health just for me to get a dog. However, I've recently purchased my own home in a different state than my family, and I got myself a dog. His name is Bradford, and he's a husky, my dream dog. I posted a picture of Bradley on my socials and my parents saw them. They said I was irresponsible to get a dog because of my brother. I was like, what? I live literally hundreds of miles away from them. Our next-door neighbour had dogs when I was growing up. It's not like he will affect my brother at all. They said they planned to ask if my brother could stay with me while he attended college. News to me. I said it was a good idea to let me know they were planning on that since they do not own my home. They said they'd help me out through school, hoping that I would help them when it was my brother's turn. Once again, this was news to me. They said I needed to get rid of Bradley. I told them to invoice me for their help and not to bother me again. They keep trying to contact me, but I'm not interested in hearing it. I waited 26 years for a dog and he's not going anywhere. They think I'm being an idiot for prioritising my dog over my brother and for how offhandedly I told them to bill me. Am I the idiot? Ha ha ha, yeah. You're responsible for not knowing what we haven't told you. Not the idiot. You are not prioritising your dog over your brother. You are prioritising your own life over taking over your parents' responsibilities. And there's more to this story than this. OP cut them off fast and very much suspect that brother is the favourite and spoiled one, and OP has sacrificed more than just not having a dog as a kid for his brother. So OP was expected to fawn over the brother and look forward to giving him free room and board. I'm glad OP stood up for himself. When you get multiple kids, don't expect the oldest one to take care of the rest. My parents split when I was pre-tween and my brother Harrison was in kindergarten. My mom didn't want to share custody. She explained her reasons to me, but I still don't fully understand her perspective. I've lived with my dad and my mom visits us occasionally, but I haven't had any real contact with Harrison since he was a kindergartner. In our bi-monthly phone calls, Mom has always insisted that everything was fine. Well, for the first time, Mom brought Harrison to visit me and my dad, and it became obvious to me and my dad that everything has not been fine for the past 8 years. Harrison is severely attached to video games. If he asks to get off the video games or something else he doesn't like, he'll scream at my mom and show her the finger. He failed most of his classes this year because he barely completed his homework. Harrison's school made an offer to my mom that if Harrison did summer school, it would be all online without any live sessions or meetings, so entirely at Harrison's pace, then they would pass him, and he'd be able to graduate from 8th grade to high school in August. The issue is that my mom says she can't force Harrison to do his schoolwork. She also said that she can't handle Harrison anymore because he's a big kid and is still growing. My mom said she wants poor Harrison to live with my dad and me for the summer so that my dad can hopefully get Harrison to start listening to her. My dad told her he didn't want to. Harrison may be my brother, but I also don't want him living with us. I don't want to suddenly share my room with Harrison or be unable to have friends over anymore because Harrison will be screaming and throwing fits. Plus, my dad works full-time and I'd likely have to hover over Harrison and fight with him over doing his schoolwork. During a phone call a few days ago, my mom begged me to try changing my dad's mind because she said that I was the only one who could convince him. I told my mom that I loved her, but that Harrison was a mess that she made, and therefore she was the one who had to deal with him. I don't want my summer ruined by being Harrison's babysitter and dealing with him throwing fits 24/7. Also, Harrison is a big kid, but he's still a young teen. She could just sell his video games and block all non-related sites on his computer, and there's literally nothing he'd be able to do about it. LOL. I talked about this to my best friend, Ty. He said he sympathizes a lot with my mom because he also has a brother like Harrison, except Ty's brother has a diagnosed mental disorder and his issues aren't because of the way he's been parented. A friend said that removing the video games isn't as easy as I'm making it out to be, and that putting up with my brother's fits 24/7 is what my mom's done for the past 8 years. So I could at least give up one summer out of love to try and help her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your mom just wants to make her own life easier by putting the burden on you and your dad. She needs to step up, admit that she's failing Harrison, and get both of them professional help. Sending him to your dad won't help because he doesn't see either of you as an authority figure. It isn't your job to clean up your mother's mess. And even if your dad did step in and was effective, what do you think will happen when mom takes over again? Mom needs a parenting class, and both she and your brother could use help from a social worker or other professional. Your brother may also benefit from addiction counseling. The bottom line, this situation does not seem like it can be resolved without hard work from mom and brother. She's the parent, not you. Info: why did your dad agree to this arrangement where he doesn't see his son? You are definitely not the idiot, and everything you said here is reasonable, including what you said to your mom. However, your dad might be one right along with her because there is missing information on why he went along with this arrangement. Yeah, that is really weird. I wonder if OP's brother is an affair baby and that's why the dad was okay with cutting him out of his life at that young age. It doesn't say anywhere that he's the dad of both boys. As a parent, I can't imagine separating my kids and not at least wanting all of them half of the time in the event of divorce. Your mom messed up. You and your dad can give her advice, but she needs to action it. That's not your job. Removing his access to games would be a great first step. I, 43 female, recently argued with my ex-husband Vince, 39. We got divorced when our son Garrett was pre-tween years old, and now he's a teen with a boyfriend named Hunter. My current boyfriend Chris pays for most things, and I rarely use Vince's child support payments. However, Hunter had an accident, and I've been using child support to pay for his hospital bills later. I mentioned this to Vince's sister Angel while drinking a few weeks ago. Now my ex-husband is threatening to take me to court, accusing me of not using the child support money for our son. I'm frustrated because I thought using it for Hunter's medical expenses was okay. My mom found out about the situation and told me that she knows Garrett loves Hunter, but why should Vince have to pay for someone who's not his child? This made me feel even more confused. When Vince and I talked about it, he said that I was the reason he walked out on us because I always went behind his back to do things. That's not true, but I feel terrible about the whole situation. I want to do what's best for Garrett and Hunter, but I also don't want to upset Vince anymore. Maybe I should have talked to him before using the child support money, but I didn't think it was a big deal. Edit: my son says he doesn't want to go to college because he's convinced that child support will last until he's 30. I keep trying to tell him it won't, but he refuses to believe it. I'm paying Hunter's bills because he was hurt on my property, and his parents said since I'm allowing my son to date him, it falls on me. You are the idiot, OP. That's not how any of this works. It would help if you talked to a lawyer about everything. What are you responsible for regarding Hunter? What you can and can't do with the child support payments? Everything. Your ex mentioned you always went behind his back. Could that issue be less about deception and more about you being swayed by others and then impulsively acting? So it's please don't sue us payments. Now it makes sense. Child support payments are meant to support one's child, not pay for another kid's medical bills. Vince is correct. You are the idiot and, if taken to court, could end up in legal trouble for using child support payments to help somebody else's kid. He's convinced that child support will last until he's 30. OMG. If your son is that dumb, then more than anything you should invest and save the money so he doesn't end up in the street. Sounds like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He's just fine taking money from his biological dad for years. I can't imagine where he learned that from.